So, Canon R7. Is it still worth it in 2025? Should you buy it? And is it beginner friendly? That's definitely not a dog. See how much bigger it is. I hope you're all enjoying the view. So, the answer to all those questions, it's complicated. A little break time. But it's beautiful here. I really like this place. What do you say, guys? Hello friends and welcome. In today's video I want to share with you my experiences on shooting with Canon R7 over the past 6 months. The highs and the lows, my frustrations and successes after 40,000 shots, some workarounds for the camera's limitations, and whether you should buy it in 2025 or wait for the rumored Canon R7 Mark II. This is not going to be a technical review with all the specs that camera has, because there are already a ton of materials on that topic. I'd rather cover the real-life experience shooting with this camera from my former DSLR shooter standpoint. And let's begin with the pros. Number one, the ergonomics. It's superb in my opinion. It's easy to operate all the buttons, and holding the camera feels great due to the solid grip. This aperture wheel, which a lot of reviewers complain about, is very well placed and super convenient in my opinion. It didn't take me long to learn where each button is and what it does, and you can also reset the functions of those buttons to make it even more personalized. Number two, the menu. Very logical, super convenient, easy to learn. Well done, Canon. You can even create your own menus and choose the functions you use the most to put in one place. This is arguably one of the best, if not the best, menu systems out there. Number three, functions. It can do almost everything you want. You name it. Select 3 for videos, no record limit, dual card slots, in-body image stabilization, horizon leveler, bright flipping screen, etc, etc. Not once have I thought, oh, I wish this camera could do this or that. There are plenty of bells and whistles for you to play with. Number 4, video shooting quality. You have enough options and formats to produce decent footage for your social media and YouTube accounts for sure. And the 4K 30 oversampled mode quality is pristine. Number 5, battery life. Super long, super long. There were no occasions when I returned home with a completely discharged battery. On average, I can take from 500 to 1000 shots on single shot mode and around 2000 in high-speed continuous before the battery reaches zero. Number 6, overheating. It's non-existent. Only once the signaling bars appeared, but I was shooting video in the open sun at midday in August. All these points make Canon R7 a huge improvement over my old Nikon DSLR camera. It could be the best all-rounder in this price category, if not for one major flaw: quality control. Which brings us to the cons. Number 1, picture quality in stills. My hit rate for birds in flight is about a whopping 5 to 10%. Yeah. As soon as I got this camera brand new, with 18 to 150 kit lens, I even thought there was some plastic film cover over the lens front element. The photos were so blurry. I returned it, and the seller kindly offered me a replacement, but the second unit turned out to be even worse. All my misfortunes regarding this topic were already summarized in an article by a very experienced photographer who shot Canon his entire life. I will leave a link to it in the description if you would like to check it yourself. But basically he found that these cameras have a huge variety in quality, and that trying out different body lens combinations can sometimes solve the issue. Unfortunately, I didn't have the luxury to do that, and got stuck with this unit because the seller refused to accept my return this time. I tried another lens, namely Canon RF 50mm 1.8, but with zero noticeable improvement. Of course you can say, what did you expect from a budget prime lens or a kit lens? And I agree with you, but only partially, because it doesn't make sense to buy a mid-range camera which can only show its capabilities with high-end glass which costs double or even more. Number 2, mechanical shutter. It's good to have it, but if you cannot use it due to shutter shock, why put it there in the first place? It renders all pictures blurry regardless of what shutter speed you choose. Number 3. Incredibly bad rolling shutter. Don't use electronic shutter for panning shots of flying birds, for example. The readout speed of this sensor is way too slow, making objects and backgrounds look warped and unnatural. Number 4. Video quality in 4K 60. Unfortunately, you cannot use 4K oversampled mode with 60 FPS, only with landscape mode or a mode with 1.8 crop factor, which actually can be helpful in some situations. For example, if you're filming birds far away, you can choose 4K 60 crop mode, plus add an extra crop from image stabilization, and you almost get 600mm reach from an 18-150 kit lens with an APS-C crop sensor. In 4K 30 it has very noticeable rolling shutter, so you're left with no good options here. For static shots I use 4K 30 oversampled mode, and for walking-talking I use 4K 60 landscape. Number 5, and although this is not a camera icon itself, I still think it's worth mentioning. You cannot work with C-Log 3 in free version of DaVinci Resolve. It was an unpleasant surprise for me, but yeah, now you know. If you have already bought this camera and experienced the same issues mentioned above, here are some tips on how to improve its performance in stills. Never use mechanical shutter. It blurs every image, no matter the shutter speed. If the subject is moving, use electronic first curtain. If the subject is somewhat stationary, you can use electronic shutter, but with caution due to incredibly bad rolling shutter. Increase the clarity slider value inside the camera. Choose the fine details picture profile and increase the sharpness strength. Experiment with autofocusing modes and sliders. Some values can work better than others. Invest in a good and stable tripod for landscape shots. Update the firmware. It has helped me a bit with autofocus performance and overall sharpness after updated to version 1.6. To summarize, I have mixed feelings about Canon R7 and 18-150 kit lens. It is an amazing beginner-friendly camera with huge amount of cool features, and I really enjoy using it, but its low hit percentage in stills makes it hard for me to recommend this camera in 2025. Sometimes it can produce superb quality photos, but it's hard to achieve this on a consistent basis. In my case, only about 5–10% photos are acceptably sharp. The autofocus is decent enough, but as soon as you find yourself in a low contrast scene situation, its performance becomes unreliable. Other than that, the camera is great, especially for video, and I'm happy with it despite some frustrations in the beginning. Yes, it has its limitations and compromises, but in general it's an okay camera for a video enthusiast or a beginner photographer interested in birds, wildlife or sports photography, especially if you buy it on sale. If I were on the market for the camera in this price range today, I would wait for the Mark II version, hoping that it will fix all the issues of its predecessor and still cost the same. Or look at other brands. Well, that's it for today. Share your opinion and experience shooting with this camera. Maybe you have come up with your own insights on how to improve camera's performance. Let's share the knowledge. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Cheers!